we're getting pretty deep into the AD carry pool. I feel like Yunara naturally rises in priority, but we've been seeing G2 ban it away a lot, and okay, they're going to stick to that same strategy. I often like, domestically in Europe, we have a bit of a meme where, like, when your back's against the wall, you're really let into a series, just slam Jinx because she can never really go wrong. I'm curious as to whether or not she will be that present in the draft. And I'm really thinking about supports, because I do feel like game one, the Labrov Bard didn't really do it for us here on the caster desk. And then game two, I think the Soraka had its value, but the way in which they utilize it and the deficit that they found themselves didn't quite have the impact that I think they were looking for. So I wonder if we'll now get those traditional engaged supports with Leona, Rell, Nautilus all up and available.
Well, I'll tell you what, we are going to get either an Orianna or Azir getting through in this game, because both of them are not banned. So G2, they can go with the strategy of we'll leave them both up and then trade one on the other side.
I think they have to.
To try and get a 2-for-1.
My issue with that is that it feels like Orianna has had the better of that matchup throughout. We did see Zeka have a pop-off game earlier today, but in the laning phase especially, Orianna can have a good time.
But
the Nico was the ban.
So the reason why teams hated giving it to Caps domestically was just because of how much of a nuisance he is, treating it as a split push champion. He loves sitting in side lanes and just being mega obnoxious, and I do think it's the correct choice to take this one away from Caps just because of how confident and comfortable he is on the champion.
Ooh, could it be Orianna Nocturne? Do they play Orianna Nocturne? It's a lot of fun.
Hey.
Do G2 play Orianna Nocturne? Oh, baby, have I got a story for you?
Hey. We can't do that anymore, okay? It's fearless now.
Okay, whatever you say, buddy.
I was low-key hoping that we'd get something like an Akali coming through, but it will be just the Orianna. Caps is going to keep it stock standard. Very interested. The volley bear is open. Something you just got to keep in mind for SkewMond, it's a champion that just gives him so much early game agency in particular. Not to say that he's going to early rotate it now, but just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I will say it got nerfed a couple of times here leading into Worlds as well.
Oh, that's an interesting pick.
As a volley bear nowhere, got taken down a little bit. You can it still has good spots when you want to have aggressive lanes to gank for, though, and I am glad that SkewMond has been representing. But we're just going to get an early Varus here as well and answer the range.
And is this going to be just a standard jungle top lane? Do we get like an Ornn or something like that? Or a Renekton would be like the true Shurima combination here on the side of FlyQuest, keeping things pretty basic. The jungle pool is somewhat thinned though. As far as like the upper echelon of junglers, I think Pantheon is the last one that's kind of remaining.
Vi's banned as well, yeah. So it does kind of feel like the Pantheon tier. But Nocturne, I feel like then Nocturne starts to creep in there, like you're saying, too.
This would be a blast from the past.
Yeah, you can feel better about playing tank champs when...
Wow. So, like, this feels like very West. like Sejuani, Renekton, Azir. Like, this is, I mean, it's our meta. I don't think it's this meta, though.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's not necessarily West. It's just last year.
Yes, you're right. It's a combination we've seen so many times in Pro League. And now G2's kind of forced into a choice. Do you match the Renekton? Oh, so technically they can choose to match both. They've flexed this champion into both jungle and top lane. So they're keeping their options open as they lock in a Mundo.
That's a bit of fun. This is a bit of a Broken Blade special, so excited to see how that one is going to look, whether it is going to be his or whether SkewMond's going to be piloting it. And now a bit more flexibility as far as the bottom lane is concerned with that Varus already locked in, so just going to be focusing on the opposite side AD carry options.
And I hope it is a jungle Mundo. Definitely would like it in the hands of SkewMond into a Sejuani here. Would look pretty good for this G2 scaling. Let's see about the bottom lane though, as you're talking about. And you know, they want to break the full Shurima synergy and take out the third possible piece here to take away the Sivir. But what on top of it here for Massu? I mean, they do need another pretty big damage source, pretty big carry. So we are kind of thinking about the later ones. You know, Jinx does even start to be viable as well into a Varus.
Could be cropping up. We'll just have to see where they do decide to go. It does open the door to things like a I guess, a Jhin or something like that. There is already a fair bit of consistent damage in the Azir, so it might be an option there theoretically. But
I wonder if Fly might consider banning something like a Blitzcrank. It depends what support they're thinking of, but again, just to remind people that Labrov does like those hook-style champions, and given that, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave Labrov counter pick as well, because he could also be thinking about something like Renata, a little bit more disengage with both the Sejuani and Renekton that's going to look to threaten that back line.
All right, well, Braum is going to be the decision. Get rid of that one. Now Hansama, will it be a rounding out of the bottom lane? Are we going to discover where this Mundo is going to go? I would assume it's a support lock in here. That's why I love the Poppy ban, honestly, because it would have just been triple flex Poppy, and you'd be just still very confused about where things are going. That's a cat. Not psyched about that one, but it's just going to be a hopper for now.
Okay, the Rell. So they're going to keep this Mundo as flexible as possible until the very last moment. They want to see what is rounded out, but G2 have gotten themselves a nice little wombo combo at the very least. Varus ultimate, Orianna ultimate, Rell ultimate, a lot of R well, buttons that they can just press in combination with one another. FlyQuest thinking about their bot lane. There aren't many AD carries left that can really match up against the Varus. They want a little bit more utility, so they're hovering over the Nautilus, and I expect that to be locked in.
Answering engage. As Nautilus was a ban throughout this series, I feel like in the second round, a couple of times, so going to get his hands on it this time is Busio, but now we'll have to get the information as to what Massu is going to be playing.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like it so far as you know, you're playing into two low mobility carries, the Orianna and the Varus here, so you have point and click, you have a lot of good like fishing options with Sejuani ult, with Nautilus hooks as well. I personally want something with higher damage than a Jhin, but like you said, Jhin does provide the CC.
I willed it into the universe, didn't I?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just staring at the Mundo, so maybe
You will be staring at the Mundo for a long time because he is not going to die.
As you said, you know, Azir can shoulder a lot of that, burden of killing the Mundo. So, not necessarily going to have to be Massu's job.
See how it does go. But now to round out this comp and decide where this Mundo is going, and it looks like it will be in the jungle unless we're flexing to Jack's jungle, which is likely not going to be happening. Labrov to lock that one in. And so BB with a Jax towards the Renekton. The matchup, obviously something that Jaxes do like because you can nullify the W. But could still be a difficult one because Renekton is just pretty good in the early to mid game.
Oh yeah, I mean early on, Renekton should definitely have the advantage in this matchup, but this is a bit of a Broken Blade special. Domestically, it's one of his highest win rate champions, and it's just something that a lot of teams were very afraid to give to him, but then the champion kind of fell out of meta. Of course, it did get some buffs coming into this championship. We already saw Mirwin bringing out to not so much great success, but Broken Blade feeling confident as SkewMond going to be taking his hands with the Mundo. I do think G2 have decent range thanks to the Varus. I'm expecting him to go for lethality once again to try and have some poke back against both the Azir and the Jhin. The question becomes, how confident are you with what FlyQuest have drafted? I do like the Azir, especially with the front line of the Sejuani, but as you mentioned, that Jhin does concern me a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, I feel pretty decent about it. They have got a lot of tools that FlyQuest do rely on a lot as far as creating their team fights, and I do feel more comfortable with Busio having engage options than Soraka was not the problem last game at all. That was definitely more like Bwipo getting caught out and stuff.
For sure.
But I still just feel more comfortable when Busio can like make more aggressive plays. And the Nautilus certainly can do that, especially when, again, G2 are running Orianna and Varus as their carries. Those are two carries that can be pressured pretty effectively. You've got Azir in the mid lane, looking to use Azir sweeps on him. So any sort of support roams towards mid or Sejuani passes as well can burn flashes and create some pressure.
We'll see if they can get that one done as we are under the rift, ladies and gentlemen. Having a look here at SkewMond and what he has put together on this Mundo in the jungle. Fleet footwork going to be the decision. And also, some keystones that are worth noting is the fact that we do see a lethal tempo Varus out here as well. So not going to be going for the lethality route this time.
I'm excited about that. But I also am excited about this top lane matchup because for those that don't know, there is actually quite an extensive history between both Bwipo and Broken Blade, given the various organizations that both of these teams have been on. And I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a rivalry, but kind of Bwipo has had that advantage over Broken Blade kind of throughout his career. It only really shifted around that 2021 mark, but given that they both played in Europe for a fair amount of time, the matchup between the two got quite heated, and it's cool to see them back on the Rift, especially given that they're both on comfort picks, I would associate. Renekton, very well known for Bwipo, and the same for this Jax in favor of Broken Blade.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that it's so one-sided. But we're seeing here that BB's not feeling too worried about it.
Yeah, nice little empowered Q charge there from Bwipo for the trade. Usually you'll see the Renekton look for the level 6 possible, like all-in versus Jax with the newly buffed Renekton ultimate. You get so much damage out of that, so I think we'll probably get like regular trading up there. Ooh.
Phenomenal anchor to come through here as Hansama will be able to use the cleanse, but does have to put that on cooldown. They trade it for the heal. As you can see, Busio takes so much burst damage back. Nicely played there from G2 after a good hook to land.
Jhin, though, just showcasing how much damage he can bring to the laning phase. Varus is considered a pretty lane-dominant champion, but Jhin one of the few champions that can kind of go blow for blow with him. But now that Massu doesn't have his support, he's being forced to play quite defensively.
Nice job. Snipe the minion and dodge the Q there from Hans.
Ooh, heal does come on down. Still gets the knock up even after the cleanse. As Massu makes his way out once again. Blighted Quiver not going to get procced.
Again, both junglers are pathing towards bottom side, so SkewMond going to be in position earlier. Mundo's clear is very, very quick. One of the big reasons you always want to pick it into junglers like Sejuani, who rely on CC and are not high damage. Mundo can clear very quickly and then ignore a lot of... Whoa, okay,
Yeah.
Getting a little deep there.
Not going to find too much more than that, but it was looking a little dicey. So they're fighting on that top side. SkewMond going to be able to grab himself some shellfish, and we'll just head back home.
That mana in the mid lane looking a little bit sketchy for Caps as Inspired makes his way towards the top side. Broken Blade has to be very defensive now. Kind of expected early on this matchup to go the way of Bwipo, and he's going to get a quick back as a result of the push that he's been able to get. So standards.
Ooh, hook does come on through here as teleport in is an interesting one. Not able to hold them in position for long enough, but they're going for a lane swap anyway, so Bwipo wanted to be down here.
That's a really nice play, because not only do you interrupt the back, it was only Busio that interrupted his own back, allowing for Massu to get back to base, so he's already going to begin the swap, and he has that slight tempo advantage over his bot lane counterpart.
Yeah, delay them on their reset in matching the swap, so Massu will get there first and should get to most of the minions. Snipes one.
Beautiful use of this deadly flourish so far from Massu, as he doesn't hit all of the minions, but will be able to make it into experience range for most. As Busio moving around, looking for a bit of an angle under Caps, does walk over vision at the time, but Labrov's going to turn up as well, and so Busio just says, nope, I'm just going to turn around and leave.
Both supports just testing the water, providing cover for their mid laners as Bwipo looking to try and proxy. Some decent damage from Broken Blade, but there's not much that he can do to stop this, and this will give Bwipo a window to look for a roam if he wants to.
It's kind of dangerous, though, because both of them know jungler's cleared from top to bottom, so he should be expecting SkewMond to be over towards his area.
And he kind of was, so now just going to be vacating, moving back. Does have that tempo advantage, like you were saying, by being able to clear out the wave so early. But another crash going to come on through here as FlyQuest move this minion wave towards the turret. We do see it's about 100 gold, I guess, the lead, but that will be evened up as this wave is cleared out.
Ooh, the freeze is actually coming out from Broken Blade, so he's caught the wave that Bwipo tried to proxy, and now he's dragged it into the middle of the lane, and now he's going to start having that slow push go in his favor. The good news for Bwipo is he does have his jungler on the bot side of the map, so it should be pretty easy for them to break this freeze. In fact, Inspired might look for a wraparound, because there's no vision on the bot side, so Broken Blade in a lot of danger.
Yeah, looking a little bit dicey here as the counter-strike comes in. The Flash W is going to connect as the Grandmaster's might is not mighty enough, and first blood goes over to Bwipo on this Crocodile.
And again, it's on the level 6 timing that you're always looking for the Renekton. As soon as you get that ultimate, you know you have good conditions, and it's even more favorable with all the setup that you're talking about. No vision around the bottom lane with the wave pushing. Broken Blade jumps right in, right into Inspired and Bwipo's arms.
And the timing is fantastic as well because Broken Blade has just used his TP, the dragon is available to be secured, and the advantage that Bwipo gains after Broken Blade loses all that farm as well, just beautifully done from FlyQuest as they've now already built up about a 500 to 600 gold lead.
Yeah, got to be a little bit more cautious when you don't have any vision at all down there. And as you say, Inspired pretty happy to grab the objective, though SkewMond is going to take that opportunity to punish a bit. Your jungler shows getting dragon. I will take your crop at least.
Oh, there's the sweep from Quad. Flash comes out from Caps as the flash in trade there, as Quad avoids the shockwave. Nicely done, but there's a lot of summoner spells now missing in the mid lane, and both junglers can smell it. SkewMond moving on over. Quad does have that wave pushing into him. As now another fight in this bottom lane, top lane matchup that we've got here.
Good spacing there from Bwipo. He's going to feel really confident now after the extra money from the kill. Goes for another proxy wave here. Every time you do this, you get an extra 30 seconds of move timer to be able to do whatever you want. Getting deep vision inside the Mundo jungle is also very helpful. So we'll see what he elects to do the next time around.
Now, I was talking about tempo vibes and things like that in the previous series. This is just actual tempo that he's building up for himself. It's real. It is a thing. And FlyQuest are utilizing it very, very well. Even though it hasn't necessarily translated into any big advantages, they're starting to stack up these objectives.
Yeah, and they use that tempo to have Bwipo actually go towards mid. He reset after clearing the wave and is heading mid to rotate the Azir already into the side lane, even before getting first item Nashers.
Orianna gets first rotate, but the Varus is nowhere near. I mean, SkewMond's happy with one. He doesn't have to overcommit to anything else. They've denied the 3 grubs, and so small advantage that G2 will be happy with.
And that is going to be both of them picked up. So FlyQuest do grab themselves 2 points of that those feats of strength, which is certainly a big deal. But not going to be upgrading the shoes just yet. Still need a couple of kills and a first turret. They do want to get there, or of course, grabbing another objective.
Oh, that wave in such a nice spot for Quad, slowly pushing towards him.
Yeah.
Even though he's a little bit behind in gold against Caps, given the wave state, I don't think he's too upset about this situation right now.
And
FlyQuest weighing up his options.
This is so much value for FlyQuest down here in the bottom side. And remember, Bwipo, he proxied the wave, then reset, goes out towards mid. They rotate over towards bottom from the Azir that now waits out the teleport. His teleport timer is coming up as well.
Oh my goodness, so much money just going to the wayside. And they need money on Quad. Not only is he going to be the most consistent damage that they have, but also this guy is like 18 and 6 on this champion. Like, this is one of the Quad champions. And we'll see whether they can get some value out of it. Dominus here in this mid lane as Caps is in trouble. Remember, no flash for the Orianna, but the shockwave is back off cooldown. He creates enough distance to get Bwipo away from him. Still the Crocodile's scary. Caps now going to deal with this wave underneath the turret.
Yeah, I always love trading ults like that aggressively in the wave because Bwipo, he can trade the cooldown and push the wave and get another early 30 seconds to work with. He teleports back out actually to keep that tempo up and shove the next wave while Caps is going for his reset and then force the Caps teleport in answer.
And what's happened, it's like a 30 CS advantage. It's kind of massive as Quad throws out the Emperor's Divide, but Broken Blade going to be feeling okay with the fact that he did get an R button just for a leap strike.
Yeah, is he feeling okay as far as the entire game though? He's,
no.
Yeah, he's getting a spear in the face now. He was like, okay, well, the Renekton and the gank, that was painful, but the Azir as well, even pre-first item, already going to apply extra pressure, and so Broken Blade is the one trying to scrap together some extra money in this game and having a pretty rough go at it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the advantage of being against the Azir is the kill threat is a lot lower when playing against the Azir, especially when you know that the ultimate is already gone. So the possibility of a gank from Inspired is that much lower. They are going to face check into Inspire though. Busio is right by his side. Looks like they're going to send Bwipo actually up to top lane, and now that Jax is going to have to run into this Renekton once more.
Oh, decent interruption. Magnet Storm does nothing, as Labrov is left looking a little silly after that one. Just really well played defensively there by FlyQuest.
And that's a big ulti gone now for the Dragon spawning in 25, so if G2 want to fight it, it's going to be that much tougher.
Cool. Counter-Strike just avoided there by Bwipo pretty comfortably here, as we've got to teleport in just to get the Nautilus back in action.
Preemptive vision here laid by Labrov, setting up for the dragon fight, just lighting up this jungle and the approach angles for FlyQuest.
Hansama gets flashed on here, does have to use his flash, but now he's a Varus with no flash.
Yeah.
That's a tug.
Busio, good value trade right there for Nautilus. He's got point and click. And Varus, wait a second, they do stop the recall, so they know Inspired is around here.
Quad is going to have his ultimate very, very soon, but they know the timer, and it looks like G2 are just going to be able to burn this one down. So evening up the Dragons, grabbing themselves their first neutral objective of the game as well. And it's a Cloud Soul, my personal favorite, no bias, but Dancing Grenade doing a lot of work here, actually, as it's just a serrated Dirk. We're not quite at first items just yet. Massu here in this early to mid-game, feeling all right on the Jhin.
So this side lane down there that has Azir in it, it's troublesome for G2 because Hansama no longer has flash, so that's kind of dangerous. Caps on Orianna is still pre-first item breakpoint because you have to start out for the tier as well. And so you're facing this Nashor's Azir in the side lane, and that's just, it's so problematic. Broken Blade, meanwhile, as you can see on screen, they're going for the 2v1.
Yeah, Bwipo, this is going to be a difficult one to deal with, especially with the Labrov turning up that flash. Not going to help, and Bwipo is going to be taken down. It's a lot of money removed from the Rift.
The other side lane, though, is looking juicy. They just attack the other side laner, take down Bwipo for the free money.
The way you said the free money. I mean, it's much needed gold for Broken Blade. He has really been struggling, regardless of who he's been playing against in the side lane. In his attempt to push out the lane, though, Inspired is looking for a kill.
Yeah, Winter's Wrath does tag him, and there's not a lot of mana, but still, not going to quite get to
that wave is now quite awkward once again, but SkewMond's here to fix it.
Oh dear, throwing the first briefcase. As we've got a bit of a problem for Caps as the depth charge comes through, flash comes down, but the answering anchor is fantastic. Busio will be traded, though, gorgeously played by Caps to make sure it's a 1-for-1.
And that is worth for FlyQuest for sure. They're going to push afterwards. How much? I mean, is he going to actually interrupt? Okay, he is. Quad could just go greed and farm another turret plate then.
See whether he does actually do that. He might also farm a Rell. Instead, he will settle for the plate.
And Caps doing the best of a bad situation, but it's FlyQuest that's continuing to mount leads where they can. That was one of the few areas that G2 had a pretty sizable gold advantage, but because of the sheer amount of time that Quad has been spending in a side lane, the fact that he's gotten himself another play and a kill has now swung the gold in his favor. And while it's still very even between the two mid laners, you can see that it's just FlyQuest building advantages pretty much everywhere across the board.
And Bwipo's done a lot of it through minion waves. And, you know, all of his proxying has really benefited them. He's denying another bunch of minions under this tower. He's playing the blocker to this lane. And that was like 2 full minion waves worth stacked up that he just denied.
Yeah, only one of them goes over as far as money.
He's been doing a fantastic job in this early game, and it all comes off the back of that gank from Inspired towards the bot side. The moment that he got a slight lead against Broken Blade, you just really see the power of this Renekton. He spikes so hard in that 1 to 2 item range where it feels like very few champions can really contest against him, and now Broken Blade is kind of forced to go up against the Azir once again.
Massu might need to make a bit of a break for it here in this mid lane, but does have Ghostblade and Swifties. It's going to be very hard to stick on top of him. SkewMond's health bar is starting to look very, very large, as we can see. Inspired in the area, though, Glacial Prison in hand. So we have a look at the comparison here between our top laners. Speaking of top laners, it's going to be Quad playing defensively here, getting rid of Broken Blade yet again, means Emperor's Divide is going to be off cooldown for any potential fights, as he just leaps back in once more. This is a little dicey. There's the counter-strike to come on through. Decent stun coming on in there as Broken Blade does at least get the flash out from Quad. And he makes it to the safety of his turret.
I do feel like Trinity Force on Jax is kind of the point at which Jax really starts to feel confident on a side lane, and that's what we're starting to see. Quad now has to be a lot more respectful as the Rift Herald is started off by G2.
Exactly. It took him a while to get there, but he did, in fact, get there.
Yep, teleport is available here from Broken Blade, so it can be a 5v5. As there's the anchor connecting. Glacial Prison goes down as well. Decent chain CC as the shockwave is decent as well. It's massive damage, but it's G2 coming out on top. as both the Nautilus and the Renekton on the floor, and they'll claim the objective.
G2 get a massive fight around the Herald and secured the objective, taking out the front line, securing the Herald. They've swung the momentum massively in their favor. And let's have a look back.
Yeah, FlyQuest, they make the call, hey, we don't have Quad joining because he's so low on Azir, but we're going to try and make a fast play. So they try and burst down this Rell, but they couldn't quite do it. Labrov gets the shield off, and Han Sama just melts through that double front line there.
Oh dear, Caps might be in a little bit of trouble as the curtains have been called. The last shot comes through, and Massu will be able to nail it, evening out the kills. Still, that last play putting G2 back into touching distance once more.
I mean, FlyQuest don't waste any time. They get back out on the map, they find a big pick, and now SkewMond sets his sights on bot.
Yeah, Quad actually greeting a little bit to make sure that he gets this turret, and Emperor's Divide comes down, but there is a spell shield, and SkewMond says what? And once again, it is going to be Quad going down. Beautifully played. They did manage to get the turret, of course. He kind of knew that he was going to be in a little bit of trouble, but good cleanup.
Yeah, G2, they use the Feats turret as like a little bait. So they know, okay, this guy is definitely going to stick around for the tower. Let's go trap him there. And so G2, they get a kill off of it. But that is going to be the Feats for FlyQuest.
It was a really nice interrupt from Labrov as well, because it looked like Quad was going to get away to safety. But that's a tower going to be secured by Bwipo, and so FlyQuest will hold on to the gold lead. When we look at the bottom of our screen, all of the gold lead really is sitting on Bwipo. And so far, in that last fight, he got shut down so quickly. Han Sama's continuing to ramp up in terms of itemization. Another tower secure.
Okay, will go down as the minions do deal with it. Han Sama holding Inspired in place as he procs that Blighted Quiver. Starting to do a fair bit of work here as 1.5 items are completed for the Varus as the Dragon was started, but not actually committed to just yet. It's exactly. Shockwave pulls Bwipo back. Does have the dominance to get that extra health, but Caps, he will be able to push away this Renekton, and now without all of that power and money in this fight, it could be difficult here for FlyQuest as G2 still going to be pressured away, and it will be the Dragon going down. Bwipo going to be stopped as well. That back not going to come through. We'll see whether they can get a dent onto this turret, and with the Rift Herald, they will be able to.
Yeah, G2, they have to respect FlyQuest.
Oh no, another one, and this time the Magna Storm comes in. Bwipo has to flash, gets himself out of there. Shelly gets a headache, and will be able to take this one down. SkewMond stands in front of the hook, and Busio has to cleanse, gets himself out of the way. Oh, the Emperor's Divide moves SkewMond away from him, still able to get the kill, but now the curtains have been called. First bullet, second bullet, third going to miss, the fourth one lands, but it's eaten by Labrov, and he's going to be just fine. G2 limp away.
A crazy back and forth as Massu secures a kill. 6-6, the scoreline at the top of our screens. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Broken Blade was just pushing. Normally that's Mundo's thing, but the fact that Broken Blade was able to get so much gold, he's going to go back to base, complete a massive item in the Sundered Sky. And it feels, and for the first time this game, G2 have swung the gold in their favor.
Yeah, with the secondary tower there, that actually catches Broken Blade completely up. 2 items on Jax. Now he is an actual champion, an actual threat here back in the game. And G2's kind of scramble there around mid lane does allow him to do that because the rest of the 4 members of G2 have to take care of themselves.
I mean, this is quite a deep commitment. They think they can catch Bwipo off guard, but a nice flash from him gets him to safety. Busio finds what I thought wasn't an ideal angle. I thought he'd overcommitted, but then SkewMond overcommits himself. Flashing in to get that kill was way too deep. Quad with a really nice response ends up being a 1-for-1, and then FlyQuest chased down G2.
Yeah, that briefcase angle was crazy.
Exactly. Right at the end, SkewMond was able to thread the briefcase before he dies over and gets Busio, but by the same token, Massu then gets a snipe as well after you think the play is done.
And I think it's still probably fine here for G2, but every single one of these games has been too close. Way too close. And we're seeing there is not even 1,000 gold in it between these two squads. Otacon now up and available though. A dangerous place to fight as Bwipo in this tribe rush, but G2 with control of the area.
I think that, not enough time because we're starting off the Otacon. G2 is just forcing this one.
Yeah, FlyQuest do have vision. They know what's going on, but it is burning down so incredibly quickly. Mundo is very, very good at doing a lot of extra damage to these as Busio not going to quite hit the anchor. As can they get to steal the answers? No. Bwipo taking a fair bit of damage. This Broken Blade is now so dangerous, but Bwipo still able to get that work done with this dominance, but it's in fact the redemption that helps out. And down goes Quad as well, and it looks like FlyQuest not quite making this one happen as G2 just moved forward. Mundo is indeed doing exactly what he pleases, as that cleanse, that ain't gonna help you, buddy, as SkewMond does have a lot of paperwork to do, and he's in the way.
G2 win a massive fight around the Arakan, an objective that has become so scary in domestic for throwing games. G2 play flawlessly. Broken Blade finally gets revenge on the side lane. The mid tower is going to fall, and this game is getting out of control as G2 grow the gold lead.
G2 just take over at the Otacon, grabbing it and all of this gold. What a massive, massive swing.
This is pretty amazing. We have to remember as well, this game, you go to top 8, and it was looking like FlyQuest had a fair bit of control. You know, that slow but steady in game number 1, the answer back from G2 in game 2, but this is the first decisive lead we found coming out of the mid-game.
And that's the key word there. They started decisively before Inspired had a chance to join. He was walking all the way from base, but let's get back to live.
Yeah, we got another battle here as Broken Blade will find another counter-strike. It only hits onto 1, but it's so difficult to kill this. Jax, he just dives on top of Massu. I think he's gone too far, though. Does get the redemption, and what the heck is this? Jax still gets shut down. And that was looking frightening, and he was very alone.
Broken Blade showcasing his comfort on the champion. Definitely a little too comfortable as he dived into many members of FlyQuest, ends up trading his life for Busio, which debatable if that was really worth it. But right now, we set our sights on the next objective. Dragon spawning 35 seconds away. FlyQuest, if they can get that objective, they can put themselves on soul point. They still have avenues to turn this game around, and it's important to remember, with Quad in the position that he's in, there are ways for FlyQuest to still win these fights.
Again, props to G2, because for a lot of the objective fights from the previous game, we had seen FlyQuest having way better setup, being there ahead of time, but this time around, G2, they pulled the trigger so quickly that the front lines wasn't set for FlyQuest. Now, going for a little exchange as well.
Yeah, looking for a little bit of an angle, but no full commitment onto any of these fights. SkewMond just standing in that front line. There's the flash forward, and where did he go? Massu just explodes thanks to the shockwave, and now an exhausted Quad is just gonna fly his way out. But now, without their Jhin, this should mean that G2 can get themselves this dragon that has just cropped up to even the scoreline there, even able to deny some backs.
The combo is clean, and G2 are playing with confidence. It feels like this game is slipping so far away from FlyQuest. Their options are becoming limited, and the first question they ask is how do they get through the SkewMond? But Massu, he barely steps up. Labrov sees the angle, Caps is quick to follow up, and it ends up being a one-shot.
Yeah, don't think there's much outplaying that one.
Yeah, nice arrow from Hans right at the beginning, too. Everything hitting at once. Massu down, and G2 are primed to make it into quarterfinals. And they're doing it with SkewMond on his Mundo. Well, the rest of the team here going at Busio again.
Yeah, looking for a bit of an angle there, but Leap Strike does get Broken Blade over the wall. They will be okay, as never mind. Inspired, looking for an angle. Deadly Flourish comes down. Another curtain call to come in here as SkewMond flashes himself away. Busio's dead once again, though. The last bullet, not quite enough, but Quad does have the follow-up damage. It's a trade of supports. For now, the flash forward from Inspired. He thinks he's found the angles. Bwipo just flashes on top. Hans is going to fall down for the first time in this game, and now this Crocodile is doing what he wants instead of the Mundo as they escort G2 out of the river.
FlyQuest are fighting back. They flash, they get the kills onto Hansama. 2 down, though, is not enough to rush an early game Baron, so it's just going to stop at that gold.
Are you sure?
Wait a second, maybe
They've got Quad at full HP. I think they have the damage to force this. G2 only have 3 members alive.
SkewMond is going to come over here as, yeah, if Quad's doing
Caps
damage to
has
this,
TP.
it's going down very, very quickly. And so is SkewMond, as we can see here. He's just a health bar, and this is Nash's and that Leandri's completed. Busio makes his way back. Broken Blade wants to get in here, but this Baron is going down so incredibly quickly. They have vision, but they have no one in the area, and it's FlyQuest that take the first Baron.
And they actually get out. It is enough to get them Baron. Betty, this game is going to be a banger.
FlyQuest find a way to fight back. They find an important pick in their topside jungle. They force the fight. They're forcing G2 to retreat, but they overstay their welcome. As you can see, Hansam on the right-hand side of your screen, he's thinking, how do I get involved in this fight? He steps up towards the rest of the team. Busio drops initially, but a nice fourth shot connects onto Labrov. Quad feels like he has the damage, and with Bwipo coming in from the flank, great target focus onto Hansam means that he is shut down, and a Baron opens up.
Critically, both Inspired and Bwipo have flashes. They each flash onto the Varus. They take down the on-hit Varus, and that is enough to keep them in the game with a Baron.
And you can see the win expectancy is looking right in the middle at this point, even though it has been looking a little like a heart monitor this game. As you said, Kobe, we might be in for a bit of a banger here as FlyQuest, with this Baron, what can they actually get?
I will say too, even though the gold is much closer now, G2 had the Otacon, and so with all of the kills that have gone on this game, look at the flower petal difference, 38 over on G2 to the single petal that FlyQuest were able to grab early on in the game. That is a massive gold difference in just pure stats that you're getting, as well as experience.
Ultimately though, Quad has put himself in such a fantastic position. He's about to take over to level 16. Inspired is in the area to cover as G2 know the threat. They want to eliminate it, but Quad will get away to safety. There is that level 16. The death cap being worked on for Caps is still a ways away. I can actually have a quick look. He is 200 gold off it. So
And do you see that damage just from one soldier auto attack onto SkewMond?
oh yeah.
He's built, 3 items already. But still, this Azir is doing so much work.
This game could still very much go either way. The Baron has bought a lot of time for FlyQuest. The hook.
Yeah, hook to come on through there as Busio starts off the fight. Glacial Prison is good as well to hold down this front line. The last bullet this time is not going to land as we have fights on multiple fronts. The counter-strike to interrupt the teleporters. Labrov will be able to get himself to relative safety. Now it's G2 trying to turn this one around because Bwipo is so much of what allows FlyQuest to win these fights, and he was denied.
FlyQuest try and engage on SkewMond and Labrov, and they get neither of them. Labrov gets the counter engage. They turn back around. Hansam hit the Varus ultimate onto Quad, and they kill the Azir, the heart of the FlyQuest comp.
The problem for G2 is there's no objective for them to really convert it into. A siege isn't easy as long as FlyQuest still hold on to the Baron. There's no dragon available just yet, and both Quad and Busio will be back alive ahead of the Cloud Dragon spawning. Means that FlyQuest continue to buy a little bit of time. It's a mistake that's not going to cost them too much, except a little bit of gold. And as I mentioned, there's that death cap now available for Caps.
And it basically cost them their entire Rebel Baron power play. Like, it was 300 at the end, and that is not very much in the grand scheme of things. But still just nullifying. That does put G2 back in a decent advantage. And now Soul Point on the line. Cloud Soul could be a big deal for either of these teams. And man, this goes down fast. 3 items now completed here for Hansam with this on-hit Varus build. And I was thinking like it was going to be dangerous because we saw what happened. It's just a flash forward from the Crocodile, and Hans dies if he doesn't have the cleanse. And so it can be dangerous, but the way that they've navigated around him, if he lands the Chains of Corruption, there is definitely some angles.
Yep, definitely true. Quad still has flash for the next play, so there's possibilities of big Azir moments, but this Mundo is fully scaled here. 3 items plus for SkewMond. Large gold lead to him, on a champion that he just jumped on so early on and really put a lot of work into.
It's such a tense game state. Europe, they can see a quarterfinals in their eyes, and it's been so long since we've been there. But North America wanting to shut that down. FlyQuest have fought back valiantly, and they are by no means out of this game just yet. The Infinity Edge finish for Massu could be such a massive item breakpoint for him. He's isolated in the mid lane. He will respect the engage possibility. A quarterfinal spot. The Baron spawning a minute away. We are getting to the late game, and it's all going to come down to a massive team fight.
The tension is building here. A full minute away. The vision work needs to be done early, though. We have seen the impact of these engages, especially from this Rell. Labrov got multiple big ones on Massu in the mid lane with his flash. On the Azir as well, following up from Hansama's ultimate. But now, it is about the Baron arrival. 47 seconds here, and the map, the approach, is dark for FlyQuest. It is dangerous for FlyQuest.
They have one flank ward, which is kind of interesting, but you can see Caps may have found Inspired. He just Arctic Assaults over the wall.
Took very little damage.
Got a Kennick Rooker.
Yeah.
I don't think Caps even broke through his shield. He's one tanky Sejuani. Both the front lines on both sides are very scary. Quad's going to be the individual responsible for melting those tanks. For Hans Sama, he's going to be the guy for G2. And obviously these are both the targets for either side.
And the Baron is up basically now. 5 seconds time, and that one will get there. And so G2 will be able to welcome her in. And they might be able to start this one up. We'll just have to see. As Bwipo in position on this blast cone, they do get an engage onto Inspired. And Broken Blade with that flank angle is spotted. Thankfully there for FlyQuest fans.
Bwipo, though, he's sitting on a control ward. They haven't seen him come through. They're trying to ward for the flank, but they don't know where he is. Hans has to be extremely careful because Bwipo could be the game changer as Broken Blade. Looking for both top laners with their flanks. Could be the thing that defines the game.
Yeah, which flank is going to work out? Will it be Bwipo finding the priority target? But he's found instead as Labrov gets into that brush, clears out the control ward. And G2 now with the upper hand as Broken Blade wanting to sneak in once again. Bwipo slices to get out of there, and Quad has to get out as well. Busio starting off the fight, gets the double knock-up, but SkewMond is so tanky. Not tanky enough, this Azir is just going front to back. As now Broken Blade with the counter-strike is going to be able to help take down Bwipo. The hook is going to not land, but the Magnet Storm is gorgeous. Not enough to do all the damage, and Busio somehow got in there, but look at the Emperor's Divide. Down goes Broken Blade, the curtain call as well to slow down Labrov. G2 still with some players alive, but these health bars are so low, and FlyQuest come out on top.
And SkewMond goes down without activating his ultimate. He just gets popped in the CC. FlyQuest, they turn on Baron.
A second Baron, almost like back-to-back after it spawned at 25 minutes. And FlyQuest get another go with the Rebel Baron power play.
That is absolutely insane. The fact that SkewMond died so quickly, the front line just disappears. Broken Blade threatening the flank. It looked like that he was going to commit onto Massu, but he didn't want to go in too deep. Bwipo takes a chunk of damage right at the start of the fight. Look at the positioning of Broken Blade. A hook and great ulti comes in from Busio to buy some time. The shockwave is held onto, and the ulti connects on the Quad, but then it's not followed up on. G2 turn their attention onto Bwipo, thinking they can get the damage down. A nice re-engage from the Labrov, but it's not enough damage. The carries are safe, and FlyQuest turns it into a one fight.
Oh, the timing of that Emperor's Divide was just gorgeous from Quad. As we're right into another team fight as now Bwipo having to use that Q to try and get his health bar back, but Hans Sama's just going to shut him down. The Deadly Flourish as well is trying to work out, but Broken Blade stays alive. The Emperor's Divide is gigantic, and Baby will go down. The Azir is taken as well, and G2 straight out of the replay, straight putting FlyQuest into the death chamber.
Caps goes on a rampage. He finds such a huge shockwave with the help of Labrov. G2 may well have done it. There's only Inspired left to try and defend the base, but after 3 long years, I think Europe is back at the quarterfinals.
It was looking like it was going to happen again. It was going to look like North America could deny them one more time, but it's the top 8 in the eyes of G2 as they look to take down these Nexus turrets. The Nexus, the next to go down, and the Baron curse for North America is their bane, and G2 say thank you very much.